All right, so get this. We're going to dive into some pretty mind-blowing stuff today.
Oh, yeah.
We're talking text-to-action technology.
Okay.
Imagine, like, you tell an AI, build me something like a competitor to TikTok, and it actually does it.
Sounds kind of far out there, but
I know, right?
honestly, it's closer than you might think.
Is it really?
We're actually basing this whole deep dive on a November 2024 article from DataPro News.
Okay.
It's called Triggering Autonomous Agent Action. And let me tell you, things are about to get wild.
Especially for, well, everyone listening, really, but
Yeah.
especially if you're working with data or like designing systems.
Right.
I mean, basically, if you have any job in this crazy tech world we live in, you're going to want to listen up.
Absolutely.
This isn't just some sci-fi fantasy anymore. This is about how things are going to change for all of us and like very soon.
It is. We're talking about a shift that could impact everything.
Everything.
Right.
Everything from innovation to
development.
cybersecurity and, even your own job.
Yeah, definitely.
So let's break it down a little.
Okay.
What exactly is this text-to-action thing?
Sure.
I mean, the article gets a little technical.
Yeah, it does.
Can you explain it in a way that makes sense for, regular people?
So think of it like this. You have this, super-powered personal assistant,
Okay.
and they can understand any instructions you give them
Got it.
and turn those instructions into complex actions.
Okay.
Like you could say, hey, write me a report on Q4 sales. And instead of you doing it, this AI assistant goes out and not only gathers all the data, but it writes the entire report, maybe even builds you a fancy presentation with it.
So wait, you're saying I could potentially skip those late nights hunched over spreadsheets?
Potentially.
Sign me up. But seriously, how does it actually work?
So the AI can actually take what you say and translate that into lines of code.
Whoa, hold on.
So yeah, in a way, it's coding for you.
It's coding for you. So this is like real. This build a competitor to TikTok example.
That's the ultimate goal.
Yeah.
AI taking a simple concept and building a whole application from scratch.
Okay, my mind is officially blown.
Yeah.
So is this all happening next year then? Like in 2025, will we all have these robot assistants writing our reports and building our apps?
Well, not so fast.
Yeah.
The article predicts a more gradual rollout.
Okay.
Think of it like building blocks leading up to that big vision.
Okay, building blocks.
Yeah, so 2025 will probably see a bunch of smaller, more targeted applications.
Okay.
Instead of, building a whole app. Imagine AI generating specific code modules.
Okay.
Or automating data analysis or designing parts of an interface.
So more like baby steps towards the robot takeover?
You could see that.
But still pretty powerful baby steps.
Oh, yeah.
So what kind of real-world impact are we actually talking about here?
Right. So the article uses this phrase,
Okay.
democratization of innovation.
Democratization of innovation.
Yeah. So imagine individuals and small businesses. They could launch projects that used to require huge teams of engineers.
Wait, are you saying someone like me who can barely code a simple website could suddenly have the power to build an app?
That's the potential.
Yeah.
And it's already starting to happen.
Really?
Yeah, the article even mentions this company called Bland.ai.
Bland.ai.
Yeah, they're using this tech. Right now, they're even doing AI-powered calls as a demo.
Whoa, that's insane. So you're telling me I could test out my own business ideas using AI even before I have a whole team or a finished product?
Yeah, it really levels the playing field.
That changes everything.
That really does.
Okay, so that's huge for entrepreneurs and aspiring app developers.
Right.
What about the people who are already working in tech? I'm thinking software developers, data engineers.
Right.
Is this AI coming for their jobs?
A lot of people are asking that.
Yeah.
And the article, it offers a different perspective.
Okay.
Instead of replacing these jobs completely, it suggests text to action is going to fundamentally change how they work.
So less time hunched over keyboards writing code and more time doing what exactly?
Think of it like a shift.
Okay.
From pure coding to more strategic oversight.
Okay.
So software developers, they could use text to action to quickly generate code blocks.
Okay.
Or troubleshoot existing systems, or even recode legacy applications, all based on plain language instructions.
So it's like having an AI assistant that does the heavy lifting.
Yeah, exactly.
So they can focus on the bigger picture.
Right.
That sounds pretty nice, honestly.
And there's also the potential for testing.
Testing.
This tech creates a huge opportunity to experiment with new ideas
Okay.
and test code in a controlled environment before releasing it to the real world.
Okay, so we've talked about the potential for innovation and how it could change the whole software development world.
Right.
But where else is this text to action going to have an impact? What other industries are we talking about?
Well, the article also talks about what it calls business process transformation.
Business process transformation.
Yeah, so think about all those tedious tasks that eat up your day.
Like generating reports?
Exactly. Managing projects.
Responding to customer inquiries?
Text to action could automate a lot of that.
Wait, are you serious?
Yeah.
So we could be looking at, like, increased efficiency, fewer errors, maybe even shorter work weeks?
It's definitely a possibility.
Now you're speaking my language.
But of course, there are, potential downsides too.
There's always a catch, isn't there?
Well, the article specifically mentions cybersecurity.
Cybersecurity. Okay, that got my attention.
It's a double-edged sword, you see.
How so?
On one hand, text to action could let security teams react much faster to threats.
Okay, I can see that.
Like imagine you could just say, secure everything against this new malware, and the AI instantly sets up all the defenses.
That sounds incredibly powerful.
It is, but...
I'm guessing there's a but.
Well, if we can use it for good,
right,
someone can use it for bad, too.
Oh, so if security professionals can leverage this tech, then malicious actors could use it to, like, automate their attacks.
Exactly. Think about it.
Generating malware?
Yep. Crafting phishing emails.
Exploiting vulnerabilities, like, super fast.
It definitely raises the stakes.
Yeah, it's kind of scary to think about what could happen if this tech falls into the wrong hands.
It does highlight the need for strong AI-driven security.
Okay. So we've covered how text-to-action could change how we work, how we innovate, even how we stay safe online.
Right.
But I'm curious about something else.
Yeah.
How will this tech change the data systems themselves? Are we talking a complete overhaul of how we design and build these systems?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
And yeah, the article does suggest a fundamental redesign.
Okay.
Imagine, like, user interfaces where you just use plain English to get complex analytics.
Hold on, so you're saying we'll be able to talk to our data systems like we're talking to a person?
That's the vision.
Just ask questions and get answers. No more messing around with, like, complicated queries or clunky interfaces.
Think about making data accessible to everyone.
That's a game changer.
Regardless of their technical skills. Imagine just saying, show me sales trends for last quarter. And the system instantly generates a visual report that you can actually understand.
Wow, that would be amazing.
Wouldn't it?
But what about the data experts themselves?
Yeah.
How will text-to-action change their jobs? Will they still be needed in this new world?
That's a key question.
Yeah.
And the article really dives into it.
Does it?
It suggests that data professionals will shift away from tasks like manual data crunching.
Okay, so less of that.
And focus more on defining high-level strategies, overseeing AI-driven processes, and making sure everything's, working properly.
So less hands-on data wrangling and more strategic thinking, like managing the AI.
Exactly. It's a shift towards a more supervisory role.
Interesting.
Guiding and managing the AI, not doing all the work themselves.
Okay, so before we get into what that means for all of you listening, we need to talk about the elephant in the room.
Oh, yeah.
We've talked about all the cool potential of this technology.
Right.
But let's be real, there are risks too.
Of course, every powerful technology has potential downsides.
So let's talk about those risks.
Okay.
What should we be watching out for as this tech becomes more common? What are the potential problems we need to be aware of?
Well, the article highlights 3 main areas.
Okay, so this is getting a little heavy, and honestly, after everything we've talked about, my brain is already kind of overloaded. I think we need to unpack those risks carefully.
Yeah, let's do that.
And really dive into what they mean for all of us.
Definitely.
So let's take a minute to process everything we've covered so far.
Okay.
And then we'll come back and tackle those risks head on.
Sounds good.
We'll be right back after a quick break. Okay, so we're back, and before the break, we were geeking out about all the cool stuff text-to-action tech can do.
Yeah, it is pretty exciting stuff.
But we also got to talk about the potential risks that come with it.
Right, can't forget about those.
The article mentioned data privacy and security as a major concern. Can you, unpack that a bit?
Sure.
I mean, we're already dealing with data breaches and privacy violations all the time.
It seems like every day, right?
Yeah, so how does text-to-action make things worse?
Well, as AI agents get more and more power to, handle data on their own, the potential for misuse or accidentally exposing that data increases.
Okay, I can see that.
We're giving these systems the ability to access, process, even change sensitive information
Right.
based on our instructions.
So if those instructions aren't super clear.
Yeah, or if the AI misinterprets them in some way,
Oh, that's not good.
the consequences could be, well, pretty bad.
So it's not just about hackers trying to steal data, but also the AI itself messing things up.
It's both.
It's a little unsettling, honestly.
It is, which is why we need to be extra careful about security measures and set clear guidelines for how these systems access and use data.
Okay, so data privacy and security, definitely a big concern.
Huge.
What about quality assurance?
Yeah, that's another important one.
How can we be sure these AI agents are actually doing the right thing? I mean, AI is still pretty new.
It is.
And we've all seen those examples where it goes off the rails and does something totally weird.
Happens all the time.
Exactly. So with text to action, we're trusting the AI to understand our instructions and then do what we want, right?
That's the idea, yeah.
But what if it, like, misinterprets things?
Right. What if it makes assumptions we didn't expect?
Or gives us results that are just plain wrong?
That's possibility.
That's a scary thought, especially if we're talking about things like financial reports or medical diagnoses.
Or legal documents, even?
Yeah, we can't just blindly trust the AI to get everything right all the time.
Which is why quality assurance is so important.
So how do we do that?
We need robust testing procedures
Okay.
and ways to validate the AI's output.
Make sure it's accurate and reliable.
Exactly. And we need clear processes for identifying and fixing errors.
Because they're gonna happen. Right.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So it's not just about building these systems.
Yeah.
It's also about having clear rules, testing procedures, and a culture of, like, accountability.
Exactly. We got to make sure these systems are used responsibly and effectively.
Sounds like a lot of work.
It is, but it's essential if we want to use this powerful tech safely and ethically.
Okay, so we've got data privacy and security, quality assurance.
Yep.
But there's one more risk the article talked about.
Right, but before we jump into that,
Okay.
I think it's worth remembering that despite all these risks, the potential benefits of text to action are huge.
They really are.
It could revolutionize the way we work, the way we innovate, even how we interact with technology in general.
You're right. It's easy to focus on the scary stuff. But we got to remember the positive impact this tech could have.
Absolutely.
Like any powerful tool.
Right.
It can be used for good or bad.
It all depends on us.
It's our responsibility to make sure it's used the right way.
Exactly. Which brings us back to that third risk the article mentioned.
You know what, actually, before we go there,
Okay.
I think we should talk about what this all means for the listener.
Yeah, good point.
We've talked about the potential, the risks,
Right.
but how do you actually prepare for this text-to-action future?
That's the big question.
What should people be doing now to make sure they're ready for this shift?
Well, the article actually gives some specific advice.
Okay, good. Lay it on me.
It talks about developing certain skills, understanding the ethics, and staying informed about AI regulations.
Okay, let's break those down one by one. What kind of skills are we talking about?
So coding is definitely helpful.
Should everyone learn to code?
It wouldn't hurt,
Okay.
but it's not the only important skill.
What else then?
The article specifically highlights natural language processing skills.
Natural language processing.
Yeah.
That sounds kind of technical.
It is, but basically it's the ability of computers to understand and process human language.
Okay, like when I talk to my phone.
Exactly, or when you use a search engine or even those instant translation apps.
Gotcha. So why is that so important for text to action?
Because you'll need to be able to interact with AI systems that are built on that technology.
So I need to learn how to talk to the AI in a way it understands.
You got it.
Like learning its language.
Basically, and one of the key skills within NLP is something called prompting.
Prompting. What's that?
It's the art of crafting effective instructions for AI systems.
Okay.
It's about understanding how the AI interprets your input and using specific language to guide it towards the result you want.
So it's not just telling the AI what to do, but how to say it.
Exactly. There's a certain knack to it.
It's like talking to a toddler. Got to use the right words.
Something like that.
Okay, so NLP and prompting, those are important skills. What about the ethical considerations?
Right. As AI systems get more powerful, we have to think about the ethics of their actions.
Okay, so like what does that actually look like?
Let's say you're using text to action to automate hiring decisions. If the data used to train the AI is biased, it might unfairly reject some candidates.
based on things like race or gender?
Exactly.
Or what if you're using it to create marketing content and the AI accidentally makes something offensive?
It could happen.
So we have to be really careful.
We do. We need to think about these ethical issues and build in safeguards.
So it's not just about the technical skills, but also about using this tech responsibly.
Absolutely. It's about understanding the bigger picture and the potential consequences.
Right, making sure AI is used for good.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've got technical skills, ethical considerations, anything else? I feel like I'm drinking from a fire hose here.
Almost. The article also mentions cloud and distributed computing.
Right, because these AI agents need a lot of power to do their thing.
They do. They'll rely heavily on those technologies to process information and handle all that data.
So understanding how to manage those systems will be important.
It'll be essential.
Okay, NLP skills, AI ethics, cloud computing. Can I go take a nap now?
Almost. One more thing.
Oh, come on.
You got to stay updated on AI legislation.
Oh, right, the legal stuff.
It's constantly changing as AI gets more popular.
Yeah, new laws popping up everywhere.
Exactly. The article talks about the EU AI Act, but there are similar things happening all over the world.
So we need to keep up with all that.
You do. These laws will shape how AI is developed and used.
So basically, we need to become like AI experts in everything. Technical, ethical, legal.
It's a lot, I know.
It is.
But these skills are going to be in high demand.
So it's worth the effort.
Definitely.
Okay, I'm feeling a bit overwhelmed, but also kind of excited about all this.
That's the spirit.
It's a lot to learn, but it's also amazing to think about what's possible.
It is a really exciting time.
All right, so we've covered so much today.
You have.
From the basics of text to action to how it could change different industries.
And your career.
Exactly. We've talked about how to prepare for this future by learning new skills, being mindful of the ethical stuff, and staying up to date on the laws.
It's a lot to take in.
But there's one more thing we need to address before we wrap up this deep dive.
Oh, what's that?
We've talked about the good and the bad of text to action.
Right.
But there's one big question hanging over this whole conversation.
I think I know what you're going to say.
The question everyone's probably thinking, will AI eventually replace human workers completely?
That's the big one, isn't it?
If AI can build apps, automate tasks, design entire systems, what happens to us?
It's a valid concern.
What happens to our jobs, our skills, our purpose?
And this article, it doesn't shy away from that question.
Does it have an answer?
It actually predicts a major shift in what kind of jobs will be most in demand.
So not a robot takeover, but a robot like reshuffling.
Yeah, you could say that.
Okay, what kind of shift are we talking about here?
Think less about specific jobs disappearing.
Okay.
More about certain skills becoming outdated.
Like what?
Like, the article uses the example of data entry.
Data entry, yeah.
It's going to be heavily automated.
I mean, it makes sense. If AI can understand our language, we don't need humans to type it all in.
Exactly. But then on the other hand, the demand for people who can design, manage, and ethically oversee these AI systems will explode.
So some jobs get automated, but new ones pop up to manage the automation.
Exactly. And the article even suggests that this could lead to more fulfilling work for humans.
Really?
Instead of those repetitive tasks, we could focus on strategy, creativity, solving complex problems.
Interesting. So instead of being scared of AI, we should be thinking about how to work with it.
That's the key.
Use it to our advantage.
The article calls it collaborative intelligence.
Humans and AI teaming up.
Working together, each using their strengths to achieve things neither could do alone.
Okay, I like that. It's a pretty optimistic way of looking at things.
It is. But I get it.
It's hard not to worry.
Of course.
What if this tech develops faster than we can adapt?
Yeah.
What if there just aren't enough jobs for everyone?
Those are valid concerns.
Yeah.
And honestly, no one has all the answers.
Right.
But here's the thing. Throughout history, technology has always changed the job market.
Okay.
Think about the Industrial Revolution, computers, the internet.
Those are all big changes.
Each one led to job losses, but also created tons of new opportunities.
So you're saying this is just another one of those moments.
It's a pattern, and we've always adapted before.
We just need to adapt again.
Exactly. Be proactive, learn new skills, embrace the idea of lifelong learning.
Okay, that makes me feel a little better.
It's about evolving with the times.
Right. The future belongs to those who can learn and change.
I believe so.
I still think it's important to talk about these things, though.
Oh, for sure.
We can't just ignore the risks.
Absolutely not.
We need to make sure AI is used for good.
It's a shared responsibility.
So, to wrap up, what's the one thing you want our listeners to take away from this?
Don't be afraid of the future. Embrace the possibilities, but be smart about it.
Okay.
Be aware of the risks, and most importantly, take action.
Action. Like what?
Develop your skills, stay informed, join the conversation about how we can shape the future of AI.
Make it a future that works for everyone.
Exactly.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah.
So to all our listeners out there, dive deeper into this text-to-action world.
Yeah, explore the resources.
Connect with other people who are thinking about these things.
That's a big conversation to have.
It is, and start thinking critically about how you can get ready for this future.
It's coming, whether we're ready or not.
You know, it's funny. We started this deep dive talking about building a competitor to TikTok.
Right.
Which seemed like, this crazy futuristic idea.
It did, but now.
But now that we've talked about what text-to-action can actually do, it doesn't seem so crazy anymore.
It feels more real, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's like we've gotten a glimpse of a future where AI isn't just a tool, but like a partner.
A collaborator.
Exactly, which is both exciting and, a little bit scary.
It is. It makes us ask some big questions.
Like, what does it even mean to be human in a world where AI can do so much?
That's the question of our time, I think.
It is, and we don't have all the answers.
No, but one thing's for sure.
What's that?
The people who embrace learning, who adapt, and who really understand AI will be the ones who thrive.
So it's not about fighting the change, but learning how to ride the wave.
Perfectly said.
We need to harness the power of AI to make our lives better.
Solve problems, create a better future.
That's a future I can get behind.
Me too.
So to everyone listening, we encourage you to keep exploring this world of text-to-action technology.
Keep learning, keep asking questions.
Push the boundaries of what's possible.
Absolutely.
And remember, the future is not something that just happens.
Right.
We create it together.
I love that.
So that's it for this deep dive. Thanks for joining us on this journey.
It's been fun.
We hope you found it interesting, thought-provoking, and maybe even a little bit inspiring.
I hope so.
Until next time, keep learning, keep questioning, and keep pushing those boundaries. Okay, so we've really dug deep into text-to-action. It's a game changer, no doubt about it.
It is. It really is.
But before we wrap up,
Yep.
I want to bring it all back to, well, you, the listener.
Right. Make it real. How does this tech affect you and your work?
Exactly. And one of the biggest questions we get from listeners is about, well, jobs.
Makes sense.
If AI can do so much, what happens to us humans?
The million-dollar question, right? And this DataPro News article, it tackles that head on.
Does it really?
It predicts a huge shift in the kind of jobs that'll be, most in demand.
So not a robot takeover, more like a robot, reshuffling.
Yeah, something like that. Think less about jobs disappearing altogether.
Okay.
And more about skills becoming, outdated.
Like what? Give me an example.
Sorry, they use data entry as an example.
Data entry, okay.
That's ripe for automation, I mean.
Yeah, it makes sense.
If AI can understand what we say, why do we need humans to type it all in manually?
Exactly, but then you said some jobs will be in higher demand, right?
Right. The flip side is that the need for people who can design, manage, and ethically oversee these AI systems, that's going to skyrocket.
So it's a trade-off. Some jobs get automated, but new ones appear to manage the automation.
It's like a rebalancing act, and the article even suggests this could lead to more fulfilling work for people.
More fulfilling? How so?
Well, instead of doing those repetitive tasks, boring stuff, we could be focusing on strategy, creativity, and really challenging problems.
That's a pretty interesting idea. So instead of fearing AI, we should be thinking about working with it.
That's the key. Figure out how to leverage its strengths to, boost our own abilities.
I like that the article called it collaborative intelligence, right?
It did. It's a cool concept.
Humans and AI, like partners in crime.
Exactly. Each bringing something unique to the table to achieve things that neither could do alone.
Okay. That's a pretty optimistic view of things.
It is, but I understand the worry.
It's hard not to worry. What if this all happens faster than we can keep up?
Yeah.
What if there just aren't enough jobs to go around?
Those are tough questions. And to be honest, no one knows for sure what'll happen.
Right.
But think about it this way. Throughout history, whenever new technology comes along, it disrupts the job market.
Okay.
The Industrial Revolution, computers, the internet, they all did it.
Yeah, big changes, lots of upheaval.
Each one led to some jobs disappearing, but also created a ton of new opportunities.
So this is just the next chapter in that story.
It's a pattern. We just got to adapt and evolve like we always have.
Be proactive, learn new things, commit to lifelong learning.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
That does make me feel a bit better, honestly.
It's about staying ahead of the curve.
But I still think we need to keep having these conversations, right?
Absolutely.
Can't just bury our heads in the sand. We have to be aware of the risks, make sure AI is used for good.
It's on all of us.
All right, so to wrap things up, what's the one key takeaway you want everyone listening to walk away with?
I'd say don't be afraid of the future. Embrace the possibilities, but be smart about it.
Be smart about it.
Yeah, understand the risks, and most importantly, take action.
Action like what?
Develop your skills, stay informed, and join the conversation about how we can shape the future of AI. Make it a good one.
Make it a future that benefits everyone.
That's what we're aiming for.
I like that.
Me too.
So that's it for this deep dive into text-to-action technology. We hope you found it informative, thought-provoking, maybe even a little inspiring.
It's a fascinating topic, that's for sure.
It is, and until next time, keep learning, keep questioning, and keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible out there.
Couldn't agree more.
See you next time.